Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. The New York Mets are at a crossroads, and what happens in the next few weeks could define their entire season. We're talking about a franchise that came within striking distance last year, and now they're sitting back watching other teams make moves while they figure out their next play. But here's the thing that nobody's really talking about. The Mets aren't just sitting idle. They're being strategic, and what's developing behind the scenes is absolutely fascinating. Let me paint the picture for you. For weeks, we've been hearing Cody Bellinger's name attached to the Mets. It made sense on paper. Despite their lefty-heavy lineup, Bellinger crushed left-handed pitching last season with the Yankees, posting over a 1,000 OPS against southpaws. 29 home runs, a 272 batting average, an 813 OPS. These aren't numbers you just ignore. Add in his elite defensive abilities, and you've got yourself a complete player who can transform a lineup. But then Scott Boras enters the equation, and suddenly we're talking about $36 to $37 million per year. The Yankees think that's insane. The Mets are starting to look elsewhere. And this is where things get really interesting because Kyle Tucker's name has exploded onto the scene as a legitimate alternative. Think about this for a second. Tucker had what people are calling a down year, but we're still talking about one of the most complete hitters in baseball. The connection to David Stearns from their Houston days adds another layer to this. Stearns knows Tucker's work ethic, his clubhouse presence, his ability to perform in high-pressure situations. That familiarity matters more than people realize when you're talking about committing hundreds of millions of dollars to a player. Now, Danny Abriano floated an idea that's gaining serious traction. 4 years, $160 million with opt-outs for Tucker. That's $40 million per year, which sounds insane until you break down what you're actually getting. You're getting a player who, even in a down year, provides elite production. You're getting someone who can patrol the outfield at a high level. You're getting a right-handed bat, which actually helps balance out that lefty-heavy lineup issue everyone keeps talking about. Here's where the Mets' strategy becomes clear. Steve Cohen isn't just throwing money around blindly anymore. He's given Stearns a framework, somewhere in that $340 to $350 million range for total payroll. But Cohen's made it clear he'll blow past that number for the right opportunity. The question is, what defines the right opportunity? The competition for Tucker is fierce. We're talking about the Blue Jays, who just landed Dylan Cease and are clearly in win-now mode. The Dodgers are always lurking, waiting to pounce. But the Mets have positioning on their side. They can offer him New York. They can offer him a shorter deal that gets him back to free agency while he's still in his prime, and they can offer him the chance to be the centerpiece of a contending team rather than another star in a constellation. Let's talk about what this actually means for the lineup. Last year's core of Alonso, Nimmo, and McNeil had a projected wins above replacement of 7.4. If you swap in Tucker alongside Sizemore and Polanco, that projection jumps to 8.9. That's not incremental improvement. That's a significant upgrade that changes the entire complexion of the roster. But there's risk here too. Tucker's coming off that down year. There are questions about whether he can maintain his elite level consistently. The Mets would be banking on him rebounding in a new environment, in a bigger market, with different pressures. That 4-year window with opt-outs becomes crucial because it limits the Mets' long-term exposure while giving Tucker the flexibility to bet on himself. Meanwhile, Bellinger's sitting out there with Boras trying to manufacture a market. The Cubs are back in the mix. The Dodgers are sniffing around again. The Yankees haven't completely shut the door despite balking at Boras's asking price. This is classic Boras strategy. Create urgency, drive up the price, find that one team willing to go the extra mile. The Mets have to decide if they want to be that team. With Bellinger, you're getting proven playoff experience, elite defense, and a player who just showed he can handle New York pressure with the Yankees. But you're also getting someone whose bat has been inconsistent, who struggled mightily in October, and who's going to command a long-term deal that could look rough in the final years. Here's what nobody's saying, but everyone's thinking. The Mets don't need to make a splash just to make a splash. They need to make the right move. Stearns has built his reputation on calculated decisions, on finding value, on constructing rosters that complement each other. If he thinks Tucker's the better fit, even at a higher annual value, then that's the direction they should go. The Yankees getting scared off by Boris's demands actually works in the Mets' favor. It creates space for them to operate without getting into a bidding war with their crosstown rivals. That's crucial because the last thing you want is to overpay just to keep a player away from the Yankees rather than because he's the right fit for your team. What we're seeing is the Mets being smart, being patient, and being willing to pivot when the market dictates. That's growth for an organization that's been criticized for impulsive spending in recent years. Cohen's checkbook is still open, but Stearns is the one holding the pen now, and that matters. The reality is this: whether it's Tucker, whether it's Bellinger, whether it's someone else entirely, the Mets are going to make a significant addition. They have to. Their roster isn't complete. They need another impact bat. The question is, who gives them the best chance to compete, not just in 2026, but beyond? Tucker makes sense on multiple levels. The relationship with Stearns, the right-handed bat, the ceiling for production, the flexibility in contract structure. Bellinger makes sense too. The versatility, the defense, the proven ability to handle New York. Both players transform this roster. Both players make the Mets legitimate contenders. Free agency moves slowly until it doesn't. We've seen markets sit stagnant for weeks and then explode in 48 hours. The Mets are positioning themselves to be ready when that happens. They're doing their homework. They're building relationships. They're identifying their priorities. When the dominoes start falling, they'll be ready to move. This offseason has been about discipline for New York, not desperate, not reactionary, but strategic. That's different from what we've seen in recent years, and honestly, it might be exactly what this franchise needs. The splash signings get headlines, but the smart signings win championships. We're about to find out which category the Mets' next move falls into.